On the line now, party time, Bryan Sudsbury, and I understand you're sort of deep in the thralls of that off-season preparation. You're coming off the 2015 season that I don't think I'm at a line saying that it was a bit of a nightmare for you and your whole team from start to finish. You guys probably faced a lot more adversity than you thought you were going to. But coming off of a year like that, how excited are you to get back in the car and sort of start fresh and start new with this team?
Yeah, last year was a pretty upsetting year with everything that went on, and taking a year off really hurt us, I think. And so we've stripped the car. We just got off the chassis jig. Everything's good with it. Changed a few things. I'm totally excited this year. We got Josh Arnold working with us hand in hand. He's more excited, I think, than I am to put this car back together and see what we got. We also got GTA and also Dan McCaddy working on it. We got Graham Slett. A lot of good guys there, help me all the time. So I'm pretty excited with this year to see what we got.
It's almost like you've assembled this perfect storm of racing minds and guys in the business to put this car together for you. I mean, Graham Annis, GTA Racing Design, his list of clientele is pretty impressive on its own. Kelly Balson, Jason Hathaway, Chad Strawn, Ryan Kimball. He's worked closely with a lot of really, really good guys out on the east end of the province. Dan McCaddy, of course, his resume speaks for itself. Josh Arnold, who's done long tenures with a couple of different NASCAR Canadian Tire Series teams, or I guess NASCAR Pinty Series teams. Is it ever a concern, though, that you maybe have too many chefs in the kitchen when you got three guys that are so good at what they do, sort of working very closely in tight confines?
When we first started with this whole deal with all these guys helping me out, I was very worried about it, and at the beginning it didn't pay off. But the reason it didn't pay off at the beginning is they were always asking me what the car was doing, and I got all flustered because I was talking with so many people that then they would get talking with each other and they would change a bunch of things, and it wasn't right. So I found out with talking with Slett, he's like, you need to just sit down and tell one of them what's going on with the car. So we did that before Autumn Colors Classic, and the car seemed to work better when I could just sit down and talk with one person on what the car's doing and what we need to do with it. So I think we've learned something from that, and these guys bounce ideas off each other every day, and it's kind of like, oh, there goes my pocketbook. But on the other sense, the car's going to get quicker.
You mentioned that you felt as though taking time off hurt you. You obviously had to take an entire season, an entire calendar year off away from the sport to build this car, to put it together. In a sport that advances as quickly as it does, especially late model racing, was it just a dramatic difference by the time you got back behind the wheel again? Did it feel as though you were almost learning how to walk again?
Yeah, when we took that year off, when we got back in the car on practice night, I got out of the car and I'm like, oh boys, this thing's a rocket ship. I think we're there. And Dan McCaddy looked at me like I had three eyes, and he's like, I think you're half a second off, but you think the car's quick and we won't touch anything. I'm like, well, if I'm half a second off, then I guess we got to touch something. So, any time off of anything, I think you kind of lose grasp on what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish, whether it's, playing hockey or racing or, anything. If you don't do it, you kind of forget how to do it, or you forget what you need to do to kind of get back to where you were.
Now, obviously, now you have a full season under your belt. You've worked with your team closely for a whole year. I'm assuming you're just a lot more familiar with your program. You're a lot more familiar with what you want to get out of the car. Is 2016 going to be a dramatically different year for you?
Oh, yeah, I got some, what we have changed with this car over this season. I couldn't see it going anywhere but better than last year, because last year was a struggle for us, and it couldn't get any worse, and I know deep down that it's not going to get any worse.
Now, for anyone that follows you on Facebook, that's on the official Bryan Sudsbury Racing Facebook page, they probably saw the photo from back in November when you had the pickup truck full of body panels that was getting taken out of the race shop. You went through a lot of them. Was that conducive to just the style of racing that Peterborough has? I mean, is there a way that you're not going to go through that many panels this year? Because I know that a lot of guys complain about Peterborough, that's just that's the way you have to race, that you have to use your equipment that way. Is it just par for the course when you're racing there full time?
Well, it's a short track. It is what it is. People get a bad taste in their mouth when they hear Peterborough, and I'm not too sure why. Like, it's one of the funnest tracks around to go race around, and if you can't man up and take the bumper once in a while, then yeah, I guess you're going to complain about using body panels up. But anyone that's into the short track racing, the fans love it. Fuck, they go crazy when they see someone move someone to the lead. But as a racer's point of view, some of them don't really like it. But it is what it is. You use bumpers up, you use rear bumpers up. You just got to get used to it, I guess.
I think a lot of the people that aren't at Peterborough on a regular basis, that maybe only go there once a year for autumn colors, don't realize how healthy the scene is out there. I mean, fan count-wise, car count-wise, things have been really, really good at Peterborough the last couple of years, have they not?
Yeah, last year the fans were, on those tuning nights that Peterborough puts on, which I think is a great idea for any track promoter. You couldn't get a spot in the place. There's people standing to watch the races, and from a driver's point of view, it's amazing to be able to sit there and drive around the track with a packed house.
Now, on the car count side, the Peterborough late model division, it was in dire straits a few years ago. You go back 5-6 years, the Peterborough late model division, with all due respect to JP and Dave Sigma, was a bit of an afterthought. However, the last few seasons, it has really rebounded. There's a lot of top-shelf, elite-level talent out there now. I mean, do you see that as something that's only going to improve in the next couple of seasons?
Yeah, when I started about I guess it would be about 5 years now at Peterborough, the car count was pretty poor. There was, I think on a regular night, there was 8 cars. And this year alone, you're showing up and the pits are packed. There's 12 to 15 late models, and, it was good racing, And I think next year it's going to be even better. We got some really strong runners that are built new cars or bought new cars, and, I'm looking forward to running with, Walt and Mike Wallace and, all those guys that are going to be at the track every weekend.
Yeah, when you look at Rick Walt, his program has only improved from where he was 2 years ago. Mike Wallace is getting into a car that's new to him. I think it's only 1 year old. You got guys like Tyler Betts, who's probably one of the most underrated guys in the province. You got Brian Mercer, who's very good when he shows up. I mean, when you look at it on paper, it's a very, very good division, and an argument can be made easily that it's the second best limited late model division in the province. So I mean, it's not difficult to see why guys would want to race there. I've heard from a couple of different teams that the way Peterborough has amalgamated the Kawartha style pro late models and the true limited late models could use a little bit of massaging. In your opinion, do the limited late models at this time give up too much to the 603 powered pro late models?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's horseshit that they're still letting them run the 603. It's my opinion. I might be wrong, but they gave them a 2 years grace. This is going on 4 years now. The 603 makes a lot more torque, which Peterborough is a get up off the corner and drag down the straightaway kind of deal. So my opinion is they make more power, they make more torque. Yes, they're better at Peterborough, and there's no way around it. And I give hats off to Mike Wallace. He had that car, whatever for his circumstance, he couldn't get a new one. He's running a limited late model like how everyone should be. But I just don't see the fact of keeping the 603 when ACT doesn't even allow the 603 anymore. So why are we still allowing them to run at Peterborough? Because I don't think personally that it's fair.
Now, has anything been said about when the grace period might end? If it was 2 years to begin with, we're now going into year 4. Has there been an end date given by JP or Dave Sigma to indicate when the 603 will no longer be allowed at Peterborough?
The end date was no one was allowed to freshen these motors. So, someone can run them as long as. So, say they came to Peterborough the first year they ran. If it was a brand new fresh motor, you run 12 nights a year. I would think 3 years the motor would be kind of wore out, but they're still running them, and I can't grasp my head around of why. I just don't understand it, but that's my point of view.
Now, the way your car is right now, if you were to blow up on night number 1 next year, could you go out and buy a 603 and drop a 603 into it?
No, I'm not allowed to go buy a 603 because my car wasn't a ACT car at Corsa, so I have to stay with the 602 because I'm a limited late model from Peterborough.
Okay, I see. So on the grander scale, let's talk province-wide. Do you feel as though your limited late model program right now in 2016 would be capable of running with the best guys in the province? I mean, if we can get everybody in the same place at the same time, talking about, at the Velocity or the Gary Reynolds Memorial or the Autumn Colors Classic, we get everybody in the same place at the same time. With the improvements you've made over the off season, will you be able to run with the elite level teams?
I think we should be able to. We're still working on some sponsorship. I got to get a little bit more money together so I can go out and buy I want to buy a new motor. Mine's a couple seasons old now, 3 seasons or something, and I think it's just time for a new motor, see how that goes. But I think we're right there in the ballpark. If we were to get a new motor, I think we'd be right there.
What's your schedule looking like for 2016? Because I know that you're a personable guy. Your interviews, you get a lot of hits. People flock to the car. You're a popular stop during autograph night. You got a lot of fans. So surely the Peterborough fans are going to be excited to have you back. But if you have fans outside of the Peterborough area, when are they going to get to see the number 29 in 2016?
Well, I'm in the middle of buying a house right now, so we kind of got to keep it to a minimum or whatever we can do. So as of right now, we're going to run full-time at Peterborough for sure, Autumn Colors Classic, and then we'll see what the guys want to do and what kind of money I got, and we'll try and make it out at the end there at Velocity.
Now, buying a house is typically that's usually a moment that a young driver has to take a couple of years off and step back. I mean, we've heard that a lot. Buying a house and having a kid are the two moments where race cars get put in the shop for a little while and they get put up on jack stands and we see them in a few years. Is it possible that you might have to take another hiatus in the near future?
No, that will never happen. I'm not taking any more time off. I love the sport too much to give it up for something. You got to buy a house sometime, so you got to. I've been working with it for 2 years now, trying to figure out how I was going to do it, and I've come up with it. So I've been saving every dime I could, so I could go racing and buy the house at the same time. So as long as GTA and Dan McCaddy don't make these bills go outrageous the next month here, I think I should be all right.
Now, Graham Annis has gotten awfully selective about the cars that he'll work with. I know that his schedule's getting crazy, and he's finding it harder and harder to commit to selective teams. He's really been on your side from day one. Are you starting to feel a little privileged knowing that you got Annis in your corner now that he's become a bit of a commodity to guys across Ontario?
Yeah, I think everyone underestimates Graham, but I see Graham pretty much every day at the shop. He's at we work out of the same shop. He comes there. He does a bunch of cars there. Like Kimball's car was there. He hung a body on it. And Graham does amazing work. Like, you can't take anything away from that guy. He's smart. He sits there and he'll listen to whatever you got to say. And even, sometimes I sit there and I ask stupid questions. Or like last night, they're hanging a body on Amanda's car and I was asking questions and I was spinning there was some bars there that he didn't want moved and I was playing around with him and when he went to hang the nose on it, he's like, "Did you turn these?" And I'm like, "No." And he didn't get mad. Some people get all pissed off, but Graham's the kind of guy, he'll take the time to listen to you and understand what you want and where your goals are, and he'll work with you if you get the chance to work with him.
Now, how much has Graham been able to commit to you for 2016? I know he's going to be on the road a lot with the NASCAR Pinty Series, right? He's going to be back with Jason Hathaway. So, where does that leave you in terms of him being at the Speedway to help you on Saturday nights?
I don't think Graham will be there on Saturday nights. Maybe if he doesn't have something going on, but me and him, we're just more friends and stuff. I think it'll be all shop work that me and Graham do together. I don't think it'll be much working on the track because I know Graham's a busy guy and he loves racing. But we'll see what he shows up to, and if he does, he does. If he doesn't, then I'll give him the notes from the weekend and we'll go over the car during the week.
So now, where does that lead you then in terms of a crew chief? Because I know that there's a lot of guys in the industry that prefer to be their own crew chiefs. I mean, Bubba Pollard has won a lot of races without a crew chief. He does all of his own stuff. He prefers to sort of be a one-man band in terms of decision-making, and he has a lot of support players. Do you prefer to be the same way, or do you have someone that you've sort of designated as a crew chief for your full-time run in 2016?
Well, since I started in late models in 2008, I've been my own crew chief. You know, my dad's been there. Tell him what to do. He'll do whatever I need help with. But this year, Josh Arnold's going to take that role on. I've never had one before, and it seemed to work last year at the Autumn Colors Classic. So, you know, he's also another smart kid. He's sitting there. He's ready to learn. He's into this, you know, and he likes to party. So, you know, it's never a bad thing.
Let's put you back in the role of a fan for a second, because I know that you got to watch a lot of racing in 2015 as well as participating. So in the events that you were in the stands for, what was your favorite event of 2015? Because I know you got to do a lot of traveling.
For 2015, you know, obviously the Snowball Derby, you know, you can't take anything away from that. But up here on this side of the border, you know, I'm gonna say probably Velocity. It was just the atmosphere was pretty good, and you know, I just like that track. It's pretty cool to watch. And they got a beer tent.
Yeah, the beer tent's a pretty popular destination during Velocity weekend. It's a popular destination on a normal Saturday, but they sell out during Velocity. They're taking out, you know, just entire boxes of cash from the beer garden on Velocity weekend. Now, that's an event. It feels like a snowball rolling down a hill type deal. It gets bigger every year. It gets better every year. I mean, I don't think it's going to usurp the Autumn Colors Classic, because that's always going to be the event. But is it safe to say that the Velocity is the number 2 crown jewel in the province right now?
Yeah, for sure. I would say Autumn Colors, but I was participating in it, so I didn't get much time to sit there in the stands and watch much racing. But, you know, Sunset's got an amazing track, and you can't take anything away from their track or their facility. It's top notch. It's right there with every, you know, big track around. So it's fun to race at. It's fun to watch there. It's, you know, it's where to be, I guess, on a Saturday night.
Now, interestingly enough, the last time you and I spoke, when you were participating as a competitor at Sunset, you looked me dead in the face. You said, Spencer, I'm never racing here again. I'm never bringing a car to Sunset again. That was obviously after you had wrecked during the late model nationals. That was more of a parts failure than it was a mid-race altercation. After you got the car home and you were able to put it back together again and you were able to sort of salvage your season by running the Autumn Colors Classic, has your stance on Sunset softened a little bit? Or you're considering coming back in 2016?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going there and running, you know, if I can and when I can. But, yeah, I had a bad taste in my mouth after a couple things at that race and then wrecking my car. And it was a bad day all in all when I had that interview. So
now you had, what happened was that there was a miscommunication about weight. Is that what it was? Because you had stayed up all night after, so you ran Peterborough on the Saturday night, stayed up literally all night changing it over to get to Sunset, and then they told you that your weight was wrong or your percentages was wrong? What was the issue there? What was the miscommunication?
Well, our percentage was wrong, our weight was wrong, our ride height was wrong, because we changed everything over for Sunset rules, not realizing that we were supposed to stay as home track rules. So, to be honest with you, we would have been better to stay as home track rules. We would have been probably more competitive, but we didn't read the fine print, I guess it was. Come down to it, I guess it was our fault, and it was just kind of kick in the ass when you got there. And, you know, you've been up all night. No one slept. Like, Graham, I think, might have slept for 45 minutes. I didn't sleep at all, you know, and they're just, you know, it is what it is. We should have read, I guess, but.
And then you get in the motorhome at the end of the night after wrecking the car, and you back up over the generator cable of the motorhome so that you have no air conditioning all night.
Yeah, air conditioner, yeah. She went through stuff, but.
Now, were you able to fix the AC? Because I seem to remember the late model nationals, it was hot. Like, it was so hot out. And you guys had about 27 people in your motorhome that night sleeping in there. So were you able to fix the AC, or was that a nasty, sweaty evening?
I couldn't explain, or I don't understand how sweaty it was because I was asleep, but I don't think I would have remembered anyway. But no, I don't think the cord got fixed. I don't think it's fixed yet, to be honest.
Now, that was the old motorhome. Do you have a new motorhome for 2016?
We don't know yet. I think we might look into one, but as of right now, no. The new motorhome will be the house I move into, so we'll see. We'll see what's going on.
Well, I appreciate the time. I appreciate you taking the time for us and sort of setting us up with a little bit of a preview of what's to come in 2016. I know that it doesn't happen without the sponsors and the people that help you pay the bills, as numerous as they are. So go ahead and thank the folks that are going to make 2016 a reality for you.
You know, we haven't really locked down or talked to anyone yet, but I got a pretty good feeling that Great Canadian RV will be on board. Al had a pretty good time. He's very interested in the racing deal. I got some special things for him to take up to him when I get some free time here. And, you know, Elma's always been a good supporter of ours, and I got some stuff for him. You know, Cochrane Automotive, he does a big part in everything, too. Castrol, Daryl Zycast, RB Blasting Service, Inc., a good friend of my dad, Ronnie Burgess. I grew up racing go-karts with him, and, you know, he might be on board as well next year. Maybe not after he's seen me wreck the car one night, but we'll see.
Well, I appreciate it. All the best in 2016. I mean, I'm positive I'm going to be stopping in. We're going to do another one of these in the near future. But weekend's coming up. Get in the shop, do some work, say hi to the Grahams for me, and we'll check back in with you a little bit later on in the off season.
Perfect. Thanks, Spencer.
There you have it, folks. Party time. Bryan Sudsbury getting ready for the 2016 Peterborough Speedway season.